very big mistakes. I asked for his resignation.
I'm disappointed in the Attorney General.
That intro will be fun 8 years from now. So we have more drama in the White House, specifically now in the Trump campaign. Trump is apparently considering firing Brad Parscale, who is his campaign chief right now. He's thinking of bringing an old friend in. But that's only half the story. The other half I find even more interesting, which is they're in a panic and the numbers are real bad for his reelection. Yes. Okay, we got 6 months. Not time to celebrate, but it's a good moment right now. So let's go to Gabriel Sherman from Vanity Fair. He's always got great scoops from inside the White House. So he says recent internal polls show Trump trailing Joe Biden in 6 swing states, a data point that augurs a landslide loss in November. From your mouth to God's ears. Now this is a quote. The swing state polls are horrific, says a prominent Republican briefed on the numbers. So, yes, I love to hear Trump numbers are horrific. John, go.
Yeah, look, obviously, I love that too. Arguably even more, but I have a cap set at a very low level on how excited I will allow myself to be about any polls, especially this early out, especially when there's very few people in the country who have done more warning about the effect that Joe Biden would have on Democratic chances than we have, and that still exists. We still have months of campaigning, or what passes for campaigning. We still have the debates. We still have the very likely possibility that our country won't be able to hold an effective national election, and Republicans are doing everything they can to make sure that that happens. So this is great. We can take some schadenfreude from it, but I'm not too excited just yet.
Yeah, John, I'm glad you mentioned that. I appreciate your skepticism. It's wonderful to hear. Seriously, the reason why I'm more excited about this than any poll I would have read publicly, because I can see all the polls. I got eyes. I know how to use Google. Is that their internal polling and also apparently their internal porning, because it is Donald Trump. Apparently shows numbers that are way worse than what we are seeing publicly. This is not the first story about it. This is the second or third story about it. So that's what's leading him to thinking about making changes on his campaign team. Plus, he's fickle and doesn't know what he wants. Yeah. So that leads us to the drama now. So I got a lot more here. Sherman also reports 2 sources said Trump has told people he wants to install 2016 campaign manager Corey Lewandowski in a senior role. Oh, wow. So, look, if they did a sitcom about the 2016 campaign, it would have been called Everyone Hates Corey. And so if they're thinking of bringing him back, they might be in real trouble. Former White House official says Trump is feeling is, why are we losing everywhere? The president is sick of it. So if Trump thinks that they are losing everywhere, he's not a sophisticated guy. He must have seen very obvious polls where they are losing everywhere. Mm-hmm. So that is good news. It is to John's point and to Benjamin Franklin's point, it's good news if we can keep it. So once Biden shows up, we'll see how that turns out. Anyway, continuing, according to a source, Lewandowski has told Trump that the RNC doesn't grasp how dire the polls are. Quote, Corey thinks the GOP isn't solid on fundamentals. He says the campaign and the party spend time sending out press releases bragging about how well they're doing. But obviously, he doesn't think they're doing well. The polling doesn't think that. But understand that Lewandowski there has a rooting interest. He would love to be campaign manager again. And so he's probably telling Trump that it's even worse than it might actually be. Now comes the turn when in the soap opera, Jared Kushner shows up. Dun, 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 as my kids say. Trump's interest in Lewandowski has sparked conflict with Jared Kushner. Kushner led the effort to force out Lewandowski in 2016 and has since successfully kept Lewandowski on the outer edge of Trump's orbit. You know, John, I do got to give Kushner a little bit of credit because he might not be good at policy. He might not be good at external politics. Whenever he goes on air, he makes a mess of it and then runs back into whatever hole that he normally lives in or mansion or whatever. But he must be okay at internal politics because when he knives someone, they stay knifed for quite some time. I mean, he has shivved a ton of people in the White House, and they're all gone, and he's still there. I mean, it helps that he's married to the only other person that Donald Trump cares about in the world other than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's doing the machinations and the Machiavellian maneuvers inside the White House apparently successful.
Yeah, and he's survived this long, despite being involved in conflicts from the very beginning. He's a survivor. That doesn't mean he makes it to the end. Littlefinger was doing well. But yeah, no, for a person who does such a poor job in public of impersonating a human, he appears to be good at manipulating them inside of an office environment, and he has survived. Yeah, in terms of the internal polls, I don't know. They're internal. Can I give you another good stat that I saw? You know, that'll somewhat undercut my skepticism a minute ago. But I saw amongst one group, so there's polling of people who dislike both candidates. So if you dislike both candidates, who are you going to vote for? In 2016, people who disliked Clinton and Trump went for Trump by 17 points. So they didn't like either of them, but they swung for Trump. Right now, and again, 6 months, but the same people who dislike Biden and Trump are going for Biden by 40 points.
Oh, my God. Really?
I mean, those people tend to be anti-status quo, and it doesn't get much more status quo than president at this point.
So I generally think that hiding is a terrible way to campaign. And that's partly what Hillary Clinton did. But so far, so good for hiding Biden. Right? When he speaks, it doesn't come across great. If they can hide him for 6 months and that plus 40 holds, I'll be ecstatic. I mean, I've said many times, I'll take a shoe over Donald Trump. I'll even take a damaged shoe over Donald Trump. So let's keep it real. So, all right. Then the piece goes into how Kushner is trying to get Pence's former chief of staff, Nick Ayers, to come and replace Parscale. Apparently, everybody's out for Parscale's scalp, such as it is. So prominent, maybe that's why. It's so easy to see when he puts the roof down on his Ferrari. That's probably another reason. Anyway, but Nick Ayers apparently wants to run Nikki Haley's campaign in 2024, which to me sounds like a terrible choice on a long shot a million years from now. But that's how toxic he thinks the Trump campaign is. But then we go back to the state of the affairs politically. Sherman says Trump was said to be annoyed last month about a largely positive profile of Parscale in the New York Times Magazine. A few times before the Times Magazine piece was published, Trump called Parscale and reportedly threatened to sue him for the campaign's weak poll numbers. Not surprising that Trump has no idea how campaigns work, even after he won one for president. You can't sue your own campaign manager, and you certainly can't sue him for bad poll numbers. They're your numbers. He didn't create them. There's statistics that people got from asking people how much they liked or disliked you, not Parscale.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and just one quick thing on that. I mean, this is a story that we've heard multiple times. Just the name has changed, but it is a fundamental flaw of Donald Trump and any organization he's involved in that he cannot stand when people who work for him or serve him or affiliated with him do well or are popular. Like, you know, let's acknowledge a difference between you and Donald Trump. When we find one, we acknowledge it. On the Giving Tuesday stream, remember when someone sent in a comment saying that like Anna was their favorite host, and you said, "Good. I want there to be people who prefer the other hosts over me." Trump would never say that, let alone think that. he wants to keep everyone else down, which has got to hurt his ability to, in a business, thrive, and in the White House, accomplish his agenda.
Yeah, and he's also mad at Pascal because Pascal apparently doing a good job of siphoning money off that campaign, and Trump is jealous. He's like, why don't I have the Ferrari? Why don't I have 2 condos and a Range Rover like Pascal does? Oh, now they won't let the president take the money that suckers gave him for his campaign. But that guy, we have to pay him, so he gets paid all this money. And that's part of it, too. So final 2 quotes here to give you a sense of, at least internally, what they're thinking about, what kind of situation that they're in. Again, Vanity Fair reporting, on top of everything, there's also fear in the Trump world that Senate Republicans might finally break from him if the polls get bad enough. Then this is the thing that I was hoping for and anticipated much earlier, but it didn't happen earlier. Maybe it's about to happen. Still, externally, we're not seeing that from the senators. And a former West Wing official from the Trump administration says the numbers are effing terrible. There's massive anxiety in the GOP that he's going to take them all down with him. Yes, please let that happen. And by the way, that's the second option, guys. And that's the walk-off homer. That the Senate Republicans are too deeply invested in Trump to turn around. They didn't jettison him during the impeachment proceedings, so they make their bed and they lie in it, and they stay with Trump all the way to the end and walk off that cliff right along with him, which would be spectacular.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.